All right, welcome back. Now, I know some of you already know about this subject, either from Thomas Sowell's book or from a broadcast recently uploaded on Tariq Nasheed's YouTube page. I heard about the book a while ago, and I want to deal with it in this live stream as well as the argument that this individual who called in was trying to pose or present in this broadcast. Now, let me say, first of all, before you get started, Tariq was not on top of his game at all in this call. And if you ask me, I think he needs to chill out on doing nightly. He does too much. Kevin Samuels was doing this around his age too. A lot of black men I know start to do this, become workaholics. Around in your 50s, y'all need to chill that out, man. Take days off. Tariq be up at the museum doing all these projects, doing nightly broadcasts where he debating people. Dude, your brain is going to get tired and your debating skills are not going to be sharp in some of these debates. But I thought he was completely off his game in this broadcast, and I say that because I'm going to interject and I have to correct some of the things in this video. So this guy called up and listen to what he said.
I'm saying, have you ever looked into the origins of rap culture and what it actually is? Would you like have an open mind and like to learn something possible?
He said the origins of rap culture. So I don't know exactly what he's talking about, but he's talking about the bad things, the violence, gun violence, things like that.
Possibly
Uh,
disprove your bias?
I'm going to learn about rap culture that
Okay, listen.
hold on,
The European.
my foundational Black American lineage created. But you, a white gentleman, you're gonna educate me. I'm all
Let's just have a discussion and see how it
here.
unfolds.
I'm all ears. Go ahead.
You're familiar with the European immigrants that came to America. There was a stark cultural difference between the Northerners and the Southerners. The ones that went to the North were from Protestant Christian inland England, and they were civilized. They went by what was called whiteness in the culture now, which the Smithsonian put up the pamphlet describing whiteness as delayed gratification, nuclear family unit, rugged individualism, being on time, working hard, everything that it takes to make it in this life, and it's been vilified. And these European immigrants moved to the north. On the outskirts of England, in Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, these uncivilized communities were constantly being raided and invaded, as depicted in the movie Braveheart, where women were being raped. They were getting invaded. Life was cheap. They were living fast and dying young. They were prone to violence, prone to being inebriated, whatever it was to cope with the harshness of that reality. They wanted to rebel against the inward society of working hard, etc. These were the Southern immigrants that moved to the South. And rap culture sounds a lot like that, doesn't it? Rap culture is the last remnants of hillbilly culture from Northern Scotland, Ireland, and Wales, and this demographic. Would you agree with that or not?
That from Thomas Sowell's book about black rednecks. That's where.
Oh my goodness. That is one of the most far fetched, ridiculous theories I've ever heard in my life. Now, these migrations that he's talking about, the last took place between 1880 and 1920. Up until about the 1960s, about 80% or more of black homes were two parent. Most black Americans were married. You didn't have the same lifestyle that he just described prevalent in Black America like you have today. So how could hillbilly culture have influenced us? It doesn't even make sense. 1912, okay, this lifestyle, this culture that he's talking about, what he called rap culture or whatever, it had to at least, I mean, when did rap start? Early 70s? How is some people from the 1920s supposed to impact and influence Black Americans in the 1970s? That's not the lifestyle that was promoted in rap. That lifestyle was not promoted in rap until like the 90s. Late 80s and the 1990s. And Black Americans were not the ones who decided to put that in there. We weren't the ones in control of promoting that type of lifestyle. So that lifestyle might have been promoted in rap. That don't mean it came from us. It didn't have nothing to do with us. This is one of the craziest arguments I ever heard anybody try to make. But let's continue.
Where you getting that? That's that. No,
Of course. And Thomas Sowell is the legend.
that's a lot of white supremacists.
Disprove that.
And I mean, I'm disproving it because okay, if rap culture came from Southern whites, name the Southern white Rakim.
You see, right there, that question was out of context. It almost sounded like Tariq is like he needs to go to sleep, like he's not even paying attention to the conversation or the argument this guy's trying to make. He's trying to make an argument about the lifestyle. He's not saying that the white hillbilly immigrants were actually trying to be rappers and that they, being rappers, influenced us to be rappers. That's not the argument that he made. So at this point, the discussion starts to get off point. They get off the subject. Unfortunately.
I mean, if you'd have to, who would the Southern white equivalent of Rakim be? There wasn't enough people in that time.
And you see, this guy who called in, he went right along with Tariq's changing of the subject. It's like, dude, why did you even respond? Why'd you even answer that? Why'd you even honor that question from Tariq when it had, Lord. Okay, but they sort of worked their way out of it.
Right now, I guess you would have to say this lyric.
He said, this guy said they wasn't doing it long enough. Doing what long enough, dude? Did you hear what he said?
I mean, if you'd have to, who would the Southern white equivalent of Rakim be? There wasn't enough people in that time. Right now, I guess you would have to say
He
this
said there wasn't enough people at that time. There wasn't enough what people? Rappers? You never argued that they were actually rapping, you idiot. This dude just went right along with Tariq's. Tariq basically made something up. He came in with all this smoke and all this eagerness to debunk Tariq, and then just like allowed Tariq to take the discussion wherever he wanted to take it. This guy clearly just compared lifestyles. Living life in the fast lane, dying young. That is what he was describing. He said rap culture, not the genre. Well, and people, this is how easy discussions and debates can get off course. This is why I don't really like face-to-face debates. What I notice a lot of times when people debate directly, one of the parties usually are not listening to what's being said at all. They're too focused on what they want to say after you get done talking.
If you'd have to, who would the Southern white equivalent of Rakim be? There wasn't enough people in that time. Right now, I guess you would have to say this lyric.
Fuck.
I mean, that's irrelevant.
He said, name the white Tupac. No, Tariq. It's not what he's arguing. And this was disappointing because I wanted to hear how Tariq was going to respond to that. but he didn't even get a proper grasp on the argument.
I'm talking about the actual
No, it's not. No, it's not irrelevant. If you bring up something that's asinine as hell and then you are told to elaborate on it, it's not irrelevant.
So does rap culture not incentivize?
If it came from Scotland, name the Scottish Ice Cube, name the Scottish Tupac, name the Scottish Rakim. How come they ain't still doing it?
Wow. The book and this guy is trying to argue that we picked up redneck degeneracy, the degenerate lifestyle of rednecks, which makes no sense. So I'm personally responding to this guy and Thomas Sowell's book, Big Goofy Book, Goofy Argument. It don't make no sense to me.
That's the question, J-Dub.
All right. It takes a minute to unmute once you mute me.
Okay.
Listen, would you not say that all those characteristics I described can be explicitly found in rap music today?
No.
There isn't explicit promiscuity.
How come the Scottish aren't doing it still?
Those are individual artists. I didn't say rap music. I said the culture that's being celebrated.
Culture? What are you talking about? What culture?
I'm talking about
the culture.
Living fast and dying young, where you're willing to murder someone off stepping on your shoes.
No. That's not the culture of rap. That is not the culture
of current day. What do you think?
No, that is not the culture of rap.
And that is not. Tariq is right. He has a point here. That's not all that rap is about, but that is an element of a portion of rap. A portion of rap is about that. Get rich or die trying. There is an element where it's, it's like their own genre.
That's not the culture of rap. Rap didn't start like that. We, foundational Black Americans, we've been rapping. We've always rhymed over beats. And rapping is basically where you're rhyming in an atonal manner. You're not committing to a tone, but you're rhyming in over a syncopated beat. That's all rapping is. And
Tariq, are you slow?
What do you mean?
We're talking about culture. We're not talking about specifically rapping. Yes, rap was invented in the Bronx.
Okay, sir. You're a white man. You're not going to tell me about my culture. You're talking about some damn Scottish people. Then when I ask you to tell me who the Scottish people who are rhyming, who can rap, you can't name nobody. So you don't know what you're talking about, Jay.
And listen to a word I said. I'm talking about being prone to violence, the culture.
I don't know why it took Tariq so long. He's just... Tariq's just not paying attention. He's not paying attention to this guy's argument. Oh God! And eventually, he kind of catches on. Okay, but my goodness, this went on for a long time.
I said I'm talking about being prone to violence, the culture, sleeping around, promiscuity, because there's nothing else to do. You know you're gonna be dead so all day.
Promiscuity. That's why I'm saying, man, I wish, what a goofy argument.
They get drunk, fight it at the bars.
Get drunk, fighting at the bars. He's saying we got that from hillbillies, from rednecks, southern rednecks, who came over here as late as the 1920s. But it somehow influenced our youth in the 1990s. Wow, what in the world?
Looks at you funny.
People just bend over backwards to say anything. I firmly believe that today's population of people, they just want to make something up just so they can say they made something up, that they originated some type of train of thought or something. Because this don't make no sense. Nobody should be writing no book about nothing like this. With no base, like no argument like this.
Honey,
that's not all that rap encompasses. See, you're looking at it through white supremacy vision. We don't look at it like that because there's a spectrum. Rakim.
Sir, I know the beauty.
Slow down. Rakim, one of the greatest rappers, he don't rap about that. You understand what I'm saying?
Sir, do you think he could have any type of effect on the game today with his
We
music?
get no.
And
The
you know, another thing I don't like is how you see how this caller completely ignores the system. These record companies who got all the gazillions of dollars to promote it, it wouldn't be popular without them. Without them putting their gazillions of dollars in mega machines behind it. So I don't want to hear from people who only want to get blacks to be held accountable. Hey, why are you rapping like that? You know, don't be listening to that. Don't be promoting that. No, you can't. You can't completely ignore the power structure that promotes this lifestyle and this music.
that ain't got nothing to do with rap music. They said the
We're talking about current day culture.
sir. They said the same thing about jazz. All of the music genres that foundational Black Americans
So you're telling me that culture
go
hasn't been
down. It ain't rap. Every music genre we create, they say that it causes degeneracy. They said the same thing about jazz.
Now, let's stop here. I'm not going to get into jazz or none of that. But what's happening now in this discussion right here, we get into the part where I've noticed that a lot of black men are reluctant. They're reluctant and sort of uncomfortable talking about black male on black male violence, gang violence, for whatever reason. Okay? Also, we're going to listen to Common, because Common has been compromised as well. He has either been compromised or he is another black male who is reluctant to be held accountable or to deal with or discuss black on black violence, gang violence. This interviewer questions him about the violence in drill music, and he stumbles all over himself in a horrible way. We'll get to that. But what I notice is a pattern, a trend, where black men really don't like to even talk about it. They don't even like to talk about it. And if they do talk about it, it's like they don't want to be held accountable. You know, it's like they feel like if they hold themselves accountable, they'll look weak. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what their motive is. But I do sense that. Now, and it's only natural. Look at how many black males have been raised by single mothers. And we all know single mothers, they don't hold themselves accountable for nothing. Nothing. So it's quite naturally, some black males are going to pick up from their mothers this reluctance to be held accountable for their own actions. You're going to lack accountability as a man yourself. Some black men are dealing with that. Now let's continue.
Black Americans
So you're telling me that culture
go
hasn't been
down. It ain't rap. Every music genre we create, they say that it causes degeneracy. They said the same thing about jazz. They said that black people and jazz creates degeneracy.
But drill is not the same. You can't compare drill to rock and roll, to jazz, because in those songs, they were not in their lyrics promoting and making threats. Their lyrics was not the same. Well, they really didn't have lyrics. But when the songs that did have lyrics, they were not saying the things that they're saying in drill, in gangster rap. There's a glorification of the lifestyle in gangster rap, a glorification of it. Let's be clear. Okay, it's not the same.
They said black people in rock and roll creates degeneracy. They said that R&B creates degeneracy. They said disco creates degeneracy and drug use. Everything we create, they say it creates degeneracy, so that's nothing new.
No,
That
but you see, during that whole time, through jazz, we talking the early 1900s. If they have been saying that about every music genre they create, that we create, then that alone tells you that that's what they want in our music. They're basically telling you their fantasy. They want our music to cause degeneracy. Blindly labeling jazz as a music genre that causes degeneracy, rock and roll, and these other music genres, the way that they were, which made no sense at all, connecting that music with degeneracy, that was letting you know what their mentality was like and what their plan was. And several decades later, they literally created a degenerate genre of rap, gangster rap. Created this degenerate music that they've been fantasizing and calling out for so many decades. Incorrectly identifying this degeneracy in jazz, rock and roll, R&B. Now they got it right. Only difference is they created it themselves. So that's the part that was missing from this
that's white
discussion.
supremacist vision, sir.
Do you think my goal right now is to troll, to be hurtful, or do you think I'm acting and talking out of love right now and looking for solutions so we can come together and actually
Now this dude is talking crazy. What are you talking about? Solutions and come together. I hate when people say that. Come together. What are you talking about? How is that supposed to look? Am I supposed to come over to your house like right now? And that sounds weird. Y'all stop saying that. We talking, ain't we? So we are together. You just come together and find a solution to what? To gang violence? Man, if you don't get out of here, ain't nobody about to be running out here. But let's continue.
thrive as a country.
You're talking from the perspective of a white supremacist and speaking, and you're the person.
No, and I don't appreciate you saying that. And I promise you,
And this is the thing. You've capitalized off rap music. You're a rap music producer. And you've capitalized off the culture that you're denigrating. You don't have respect for the culture. You've capitalized off our culture, sir.
this is literally out of respect. It's called not being a dick rider, grifter, trying to literally loot rap culture. It's trying to purify.
Now he's being a hypocrite, because if you're a producer, you're supporting that same type of rap you're talking about. You can't control what those rappers say over your beats.
From the egregious sins that are promoted in the music.
But
At what point?
So now he's basically rallying against, the degenerate lyrics, which promotes a degenerate lifestyle, a deadly lifestyle, where if you try to emulate the lifestyle that they promote and glorify in these songs, you maximize chances you'll end up either in the grave, early grave, or in prison at a young age for the rest of your life. And there's just far too many examples to go over.
Point do we stop celebrating this shit and have anti-art and start shaming because that make terrible music and degenerate shit?
Now what? So what? This dude is all over the place. His goal is to get Tariq to shame rappers who make degenerate rap. Do you think that's gonna work? What do you think that's gonna do? I mean, granted, I don't have nothing against that, but that's your grand plan? That's what you up here tripping about? Okay. Now, again, I don't have nothing against that. It should be talked about because, again, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it, and I don't know why. I don't know why.
Well, why don't you start with the
I do.
white
What do you think I'm doing right now?
people who, with the degenerate stuff, are the white people within rap now, the Takashis and the little.
You're telling me Sexy Red.
See, it's like Tariq submitted to this guy. It's like he let this guy run amok. This guy his ego is getting bigger and bigger. Listen to him.
Sexy Red is performative. That's a performative.
The guy asked about Sexy Red. Wait a minute.
Rap now, the Takashis and the little.
You're telling me Sexy Red.
Sexy Red is
Tariq, us and Tariq, we have no control over these rappers. We got no control over the Sexy Reds of the world. They're pushed by the machine. And this caller being ignorant of that is basically wasting his breath. We wasting valuable time on a goofy discussion. Ain't no stopping Sexy Red. I don't think her sales are genuine anyways. Her primary role is to push an agenda, a role model. Is to be a role model for young inner city black girls. Okay? And if you ignorant of that, see, I can't deal with these people who think it's just, who are not aware of that, of how these plants, you're not aware of plants? Okay, let's continue.
performative. That's a performative caricature that white people like. Sexy Red ain't real. Sexy Red is a performative stereotype, sir.
Do you honestly believe that under God right now?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be dumb or evil.
That's performative.
Literally, if you think that's not the...
That's performative degeneracy, sir. That's performative.
Tariq, I love you, man, and God is watching.
Yes.
You got to start shaping up because you're a leader and you're impacting in a negative way.
As a white man, if we're going to talk about Sexy Red,
He said you're a leader and you're impacting in a negative way. What in the world? And why do people keep calling Tariq a leader? Tariq ain't nothing but a film producer who has a podcast that people listen to. I don't know why people try to make him some type of superhero.
you need to be hollering at the Hawk Tua girl in your community who can't.
And Lord knows I would. She's trash and a goof.
Who they just accuse her of finessing some folks out of millions of dollars doing some little janky Bitcoin scam allegedly, and she got her comeuppance talking about oral sex.
On what type of channel?
What type of channel? What do you mean? What type of?
Yeah, what type of channel did she come up on? Who was the host? What type of channel? What type of culture accepted that type of goofy shit?
White people.
It was global. Now I'm saying rap culture is the most influential by far, and it needs to be purified. Is that egregious?
Okay, dude, it need to be purified. No, it don't. You talking about one type of, you talking about like the gangster rap. Say it needs to be purified. You think Tariq can do it? Okay, you got a good idea. Bravo, dude. I agree. It does need to be reformed. It should never have been allowed to become the way that it is now. Anyway, it's only been allowed to become the way it is now is because it's just like anything else, just like blackface. Everything that's popular has got to be degenerate in some way. It was made degenerate. It was made degenerate. But what you think Tariq gonna do? Why, again, thinking Tariq got some type of superpowers. That is crazy to me. On this call, he even said at one point, he was like, I'm on a different level, Tariq. Just out the blue, just told Tariq. I mean, his ego just got bigger than the room itself.
Hold on, let me get the Black Receipt in here. Let me get some of the family in here. Black Receipt, hop on.
I pray you bring up someone that's acting in good faith and wants to have a meaningful discussion. Because it's time we come together and start making sense of this shit.
The Black
Making sense of what?
I'm on another level, Tariq.
See, there he go. He said that. That's what I'm talking about. He just out of the blue. I'm on another level, Tariq. What are you doing? He on another level because of it. I guess he think he the first person who's thought that rap lyrics need to be cleaned up. Dude, that idea is as old as rap, as gangster rap itself. But wow, I don't know why Tariq didn't regulate. He should have been able to easily regulate this guy because he sounds foolish.
The Black Receipt, hop in, brother.
What's going on, Tariq?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. It seems like these Democratic shills understand spectrums, but they don't understand the different spectrums of music. Like, most of these stories come from people who really live these lives, and then some of these stories are made up and paid for by, you know what I'm saying, record labels. And I don't know what this white boy got going on, but we ain't paying him no attention. Like, he's a non-factor. He's another, you know what I'm saying, colonizer like DJ Vlad. They want to be part of the culture so he can have his little input, and we ain't listening. So just drop it. Leave it alone, sir.
Man.
You think you're gonna dictate my lifestyle? You sound like a goofy. You need to go get into researching things and elevating your situation. Level
But
yourself
here's
up.
the
You just sounded like a dumbass.
hold on. But here's the thing: you're not gonna sit here and tell us what we need to do to shape up when your community.
This dude comes up here sounding like a goof.
But hold on, because
So then Tariq calls this guy up, and this guy did in fact sound goofy. He didn't even make no argument. He just got up and said, hey, sometimes what these rappers are saying is true, and sometimes it's not true. Okay, and? Don't matter if it's true or not. But then he just left it at that. So it made Tariq look like he needed help. And he called in a goofy, like anybody would do. Just help debate this guy. This guy with this goofy argument. That ain't even an argument. But my thing is, why was it so difficult? Why is it so difficult? Why couldn't Tariq just say, oh yeah, I agree. Some of this rap music, the lyrics are egregious. What's the big deal? Why not just say that? Because if you say that, then dude has nothing to argue about. He has nothing to flip out about. Like, yeah, some of this. Because the bottom line is, there's been a lot of people killed over rap songs. Drill is different. Now let's move on to Common. Because Common is worse. And then we'll come back to points made in that video. Common's is worse. And in this video, it feel like Common is compromised.
Very popular. The image of Chicago changed, right? Mm-hmm. And so what's your thought process as far as how Chicago's viewed? Because most of the time when you say Chicago, people are like, it's dangerous. Stay away. Why are you going there? It's just a very negative connotation from at least black people when they think about Chicago. Yeah. And then drill music has definitely played a part in that for sure. And so like, and drill has went over the world. London, New York, everybody's doing drill now. So what's your thoughts on Chicago's reputation as far as violence linked with drill music?
Well, I think drill music wouldn't have been able to come about if Chicago didn't have that type of angst and type of like, if parts of Chicago didn't have the violence that we have. That was the expression of what Dirk, what Reese, what Chief Keef. Man, they was, them dudes is from a really tough neighborhood, one of the toughest neighborhoods in the world. And they were just talking what they've been exposed to and what they know. And
right there. That was a bold-faced lie right there. It's like, whoa, Common, have you been compromised?
And what they've been exposed to and And they were just talking what they've been exposed to and what they know.
No, they wasn't. They was saying F your dead homies. That's not speaking on what you've been exposed to. That's not the equivalent of sharing a life story. F your dead homies. And we gonna kill you. If we see you, we gonna blast you. Right? That's what we do. What is he talking? That was listen, I don't, what? No. Common ain't that ignorant. This is why I consider maybe he compromised. Common is a very bright man. He's not this dumb. If anybody know that they're not just sharing what they've been exposed to in their life story, it's Common.
Been exposed to and what they know.
Been exposed to and what they know. That is just crazy. For those who don't know, drill is all about dissing the dead, denigrating the dead. No, excuse me. It's all about actually carrying out murders. Real life murders. And bragging about it in your songs. And then you'll blow up once people find out that you were actually involved in real life crimes and murders. That's the key to success in drill. Which is insane. Just me explaining it sounds crazy. But yet he sat there and described it the way that he did. Like they're just narrating their life story. No, dude. So I'm listening. I'm like, this makes black men look weak. It makes us sound weak. Like we scared to deal with it. Because I've heard other black men describe it like this. They just talking about what they see in their community. Oh, well, what do you think about all the crime in these rap? Well, they just rapping about what they seen and how they grew up. No, they not. They literally in real time dissing other gang sets. Threatening other gang sets. Drill is war music. It's the theme music to real gang wars. What are you talking about, Common? I ain't never heard nobody play this dumb. Boy, I never thought I'd hear Common play this dumb. Chicago drill is theme music to real gang wars. Get the facts straight.
A really tough neighborhood, one of the toughest neighborhoods in the world. And they were just talking what they've been exposed to and what they know. And it's really powerful how, like, we as black people, and I say black and brown people really, but how we take some of the heaviest things, the most difficult situations, and make something golden out of it. Because drill it created a sound, and it's like influenced the world. And
he just referred to drill as golden. Now, I agree. I don't have nothing against the sound. I don't have nothing against the beats. I mean, some of the beats sound creepy and demonic, but, you know, a beat is a beat. A melody is a melody. If it's not necessarily sending out a negative message. And I don't have nothing against the rappers. You know, their style, because they do tend to use unique style when they rap over these drill beats. I don't have no problem with that. My issue is with the lyrics, with, you know, the war on wax, basically. But, dude, don't sit there and call drill beautiful. Don't sit there and refuse to be critical of it at all. You know how irresponsible that is? You may as well not even be a man sitting there talking right now.
It created a sound, and it's like influenced the world, and it's dope.
He just called it dope.
But as you said, that it's other sides to Chicago that I feel like people don't know. And
So
I mean,
now he's getting off the music. And now, let's just talk about the environment now. It's almost like he knows not to be critical of the genre itself. Because that would cause record companies to lose money. You can't just, especially as an artist, come out and speak against the genre itself of drill. So instead, he sits there and calls it dope and all this kind of stuff. That is crazy to me.
people don't know. And I mean, if you think about it, sometimes people got a tendency to come from the glass half side, because drill is it created a sound, and it's like influenced the world, and it's dope. But as you said, that it's other sides to Chicago that I feel like people don't know. And I mean, if you think about it, sometimes people got a tendency to come from the glass half empty mentality anyway. Like, oh, you hear that story, so it's just like you generalize that's what it is. That's all it is. And I can understand why you would think like, man, if that's what it is, I ain't going to visit that place. But once you touch down or just even open your mind, because there's other artists that express what Chicago is too from early on.
Lupe.
Lupe
was a version.
Chance.
Chance,
No Name.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
They talk about it.
Shout out to Chance.
But like just different artists that talk about Chance showed a whole other side of Chicago.
That's a fact.
That
But the good side is irrelevant if the bad side is that bad. People will still be like, hey, kudos to you for having a good side of your city. But the bad side of your city is Twilight Zone-ish bad. I'm going to avoid the city.
Vic Mensa.
What'd you say?
Vic Mensa.
Oh, Vic. Yeah, Vic.
dope.
Vic.
Well, why is Chicago? Because there's a lot of cities that poverty is pretty much in every city, unfortunately, right? What makes Chicago so different as far as the violence? Like, why is the violence so heavy in Chicago as opposed to New York or like, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like Chicago is just really intense in that violent aspect.
Well, I think like gang culture, and I know gangs exist everywhere, but for us, like gang culture was part of our parents growing up. Like the gangs was existing in the 60s, right? So that warrior spirit has been like in our DNA. And I'm not saying that there's gangsters everywhere, but that being said, it was organized for a while. And then, as you know, certain people got incarcerated and it was not a lot of leaders there to like guide those who were dealing with the gang culture.
And they displaced people when they tore the buildings down.
And they tore the buildings down, displaced people. But it essentially, you know, that warrior gang thing is ingrained in us. And that's part of like one of the elements that I would say is different from most. Because where's poverty?
Look, all I hear right now is him sidestepping the fact that gangster rap was created. That's all I hear of all this babbling. Get to the point where the Letter Boys invent gangster rap and promote it, invest in it, showcase it, where they eventually made it the face of rap. Get to that part. How invested in it these record companies and these mega machines have been. Come on, man.
There's lack of jobs, where it's lack of like education and kind of overall lack of hope. You're going to get that. Like you can go to Brooklyn, you can go in certain places in Harlem or Atlanta, or like where you can go to these neighborhoods in Oakland and you feel that what you feel in Chicago.
Okay, now that's true. You find, wherever you find abject poverty, you're going to find a high rate of violence. Now, as we listen to all of this, I need people to keep in mind what I just said. This is all over the world. Cities all over the world are like this. But let's talk about Chicago in particular, because most people look at Chicago as like the most violent city in America, the roughest and toughest. But with that being said, Chicago is not even the top 10. It's not even in the top 15 most dangerous cities in the world. Black Americans are some of the least violent people on earth. You got to keep that in mind. Because if Black Americans put up the type of numbers that other cities around the world put up, this country will be a lot worse.
But I think it's intensified just by the gang culture that's been there for a long time. And man, I always be thinking like one of my whole life missions has been to be a part of the peace in Chicago, like to really figure out like, man, because I don't have
poverty got a lot to do with it. But I don't like how everybody ignores the fact that single mothers played a huge role in the increase in violence in Black America, because they did nothing to protect those boys from those messages, from the grooming process that the media and entertainment provided, which is heavy. A lot of people are hardly influenced by their single mother at all. The bulk of their influence comes from the music and the culture of the music. I don't know why people play dumb. So many people play dumb. But whatever rappers rap about, the listeners try to live out in real life. That's what it is. All these crazy pills that became popular, they wasn't popular back in the day. They became popular after rappers started rapping about them. Rappers have popularized a lot of things and made it a part of the culture. So how can you sit here and not talk about how controlled rap has been? Like, how can you talk about the degeneracy in rap and sidestep and be a good boy doing it? And that's basically what I heard Common doing. This is a bad look for Common. Because I grew up thinking you should expect to hear the truth from Common. He's supposed to have that 5%er mentality. Go against the grain, he gonna tell the truth. But here, he just totally avoided it.
all the answers, but I do know creating jobs, education, like education from a level, not just only in school, but providing people with ways to get to their dreams and stuff is important.
Yeah, their dream is to be rich by 23, balling, and to not be working a 9 to 5. That's another thing we want to talk about. A lot of the inner city, listen to me, black youth, they don't even like the idea of working a 9 to 5. Don't want to. Selling drugs is easier, right? They prefer that lifestyle. Why? They're not being raised properly. Like, why don't people consider the fact that many single black mothers do nothing at all to try to steer their kids in away from all these traps? Nothing is done at all. And none of these big time names hold the industry accountable. Like, they dare not speak against these record companies. They all compromise. They all compromised. And it don't make no sense. Now, this lack of accountability, because I know I got some doubters listening.
but I don't know what.
Listen to this. Your girl, Lashina Weekly.
And freaking all the girls were going with 3 friends, and
Wait a minute.
I remember one day I had to go to Hyde Park and get my son with my brother because he hadn't got into it with Vaughn.
You got into it with who?
With Vaun.
All right.
So I had to go and get him.
And this was the first time you ever heard of Vaughn?
Yeah, this was really the first time that I ever heard of him around that time. And when he got locked up, people was safe shit in that era.
When King Von got locked up.
Yeah. When he got locked up for that little incident and all the other hitters that was left out there. And
She talking about in 2012, King Von got locked up. And she said when he got locked up, FBG Duck and her other son, everybody was safe because they was like real crazy and killing people.
As history goes when it comes to drill stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I didn't grow up like that. My kids ain't grow up like that. I don't give a fuck what people try to say. They grew up with respect, morals. Ain't nobody finna blame me for no shit for what no grown ass kids decide to do with their own will.
Grown kids. Can somebody make sense out of that for me? What is a grown kid? What is a grown kid? Now, y'all heard me talk about how black boys, they're never children. They go from being newborns to adults, straight into adulthood. This system has always dealt with us like that. They'll try us as an adult. We'll be standing there 6 years old or something. They never look at us as children. They never deal with us as children. Do y'all know exactly how alike the typical black female mother thinks? Y'all just don't know how aligned with that ideology the average black woman is. Y'all just heard what she said.
I ain't finna blame me for no shit for. I don't give a fuck what people try to say. They grew up with respect, morals.
She said her sons grew up with respect and morals. Yet her sons were involved in gangs, dissing the dead. Okay, dissing the dead in a real disrespectful way. They was involved in the same stuff all the rest of them was involved in. So she's sitting up here lying. How can I say that? How do I know she's lying? Because what they do is they'll sit there and say, well, I never taught them to do it. I never told them, hey, go be a gang member. Hey, go shoot somebody. Hey, go sell drugs. And in their mind, that's the equivalent of raising them with morals. No, it don't work like that. And again, we know full well she was not raising her sons to have a healthy worldview of other black males. Remember, the base of what we're talking about right now, or the problem that we're talking about, is black male on black male violence. She's sitting here right now talking about how everybody was safe when King Von was locked up. And went on to say, I didn't grow up like this. My sons didn't grow up like that. They was raised with respect and morals. What? That's what they were known for, especially FBG Duck, for dissing the dead.
What people try to say, they grew up with respect, morals. Ain't nobody finna blame me for no shit for what no grown ass kids decide to do what they own.
Grown kids.
They knew right from wrong.
See, and that's how they raise them. They don't teach them nothing. All they do is feed them, give them clothes, and that's it. Send them to their bedroom, sit them down in front of TV, cut the grass, take out the trash. When they need something around the house done, other than that, they don't be teaching them nothing. Wait a minute.
It wasn't like to do what they own. Nobody finna blame me for no shit for what no grown ass kids decide to do what they own will.
Now, this is the same mother who admitted that she raised her sons on gangster rap. So she brainwashed them at an extremely young age on the messages that come from like Lil Wayne, that type of gangster rap. She raised them on it. But she refused to be held accountable for anything. Ain't no telling what else she did. Do you think she practiced any type of discipline in at home? See, for her to claim to have been disciplined like that, how come you don't see any of that discipline in her diet? I can tell you're undisciplined. Look at your diet. And just no accountability. Boy, they mean every bit of that. Ain't nobody gonna blame me for nothing. You sitting here, the only parent. You're the only parent. But you don't take none of the blame, huh? When you go to Chicago, places like Chicago, and all across the country, and you find these hoods, these real low-income areas, almost all of them is headed by single mothers. Everybody got a mama and that's it. Her mama have a bunch of boyfriends. So a sociologist could do a case study on how kids turn out when they're raised under their mothers, while having a degenerate culture promoted to them. It's a sort of a way to measure how effective the single mother is at countering those negative messages. Because remember, nobody puts a gun to your head and makes you bring that TV or that computer into your home. You got complete control over your home, no matter how high tech these devices are. And the more society projects negative messages to your specific culture, the more you need a man. The more that home needs a man to combat all the negative messages, or to decide you're not going to watch this, you're not going to watch that. But again, they look at that type of discipline as oppression. That's why I said it's a wrap, man. Sadly, if this ain't the function of people who going extinct, I don't know what is. That's got to be fixed. That's got to be fixed. Because the statistics are insane at this point. 1 in 4 of them get married. 25% of them get married. And of the ones who get married, 80% of them file for divorce. We also got the highest divorce rate, and 80% of the time it's them. When you got a group of women who don't want to be married, who don't want a traditional family, who don't want to practice discipline at all in any type of way, don't want to be held accountable, and this is the culture among them, meaning it's found in the average of them, man, you got all kinds of trouble. And this video is intended just for the men. I'm not even addressing women. It's unfortunate that other people are able to butt into our discussions, but it is what it is. I need to talk to men on a mass level. Yeah, for those who are pro-black, it is not looking good. It's not looking good at all. Everything is about marriage rates. I don't want to hear the part of the reason why gang culture is so bad is because of the marriage rate. That's the result of these screwed up marital rates. And notice how these communities started to get so much worse when more of the community became headed by single mothers. And it's crazy to look at all the other things that happened after black women became the majority of parents in the household. That's when they started to physically explode as well. It's extreme. The extent to which they have physically exploded is extreme because it took place in an extreme short period of time, just a matter of 2-3 decades. You go look at them in the 40s, almost all of them look like athletes. Athletes. See, under black men, they were some of the flyest women on the planet. But as soon as they left from under black men's leadership, look at what happened to them. Oh, y'all don't think? See, this is that hood rat mentality. That's a problem. That's the biggest problem. That hood rat mentality. Delusional is all. Listen to this.
Because when his daddy got out of jail, he should have got all the motherfuckers away from his motherfucking son. Yeah. Now I'm speaking as a
Now, this is the mother who just said she raised her kids with respect and morals. And I bet some of the black female listeners believed her. Oh, some of you believed her. Oh, history student, why you saying that? You don't know. Does this sound like a mother who would raise their kids like that?
Because when his daddy got out of jail, he should have got all the motherfuckers away from his motherfucking son. Yeah. Now I'm speaking as a mother.
You right.
I went to that man personally and talked to him, AK, before
Damn, Dirt Daddy.
Duck died, before Vaughn died, before D-Gang died. And I went and talked to that man.
Who, Dirt Dad?
And I begged him, can you get your son? Because I could get mine. I could get mine. As long as Vaughn was alive.
She said, I can get mine. I can get my sons. I can save my sons. She criticizing Dirk's dad for not protecting him. Oh, I can protect my sons. What is she talking about? Look at the level of delusion here. FBG Duck and FBG Brick were two of the most prominent gangsters in that hood. And that's another thing that bothers me. How ignorant so many older black men are of this modern gang culture. FBG Duck and Brick were some of the most prominent figures in their hood. And when they come to making music, they're easily some of the most disrespectful. So you see the delusion and the refusal to hold herself accountable for anything and to instead fantasize that she is some holy mother. You can't work with women like that. What, you gonna sit at a round table with women like this? This delusional who can't even accept truth and reality? Refuse to be held accountable for anything? You get nowhere. You get nowhere doing that. And it really bothers me because, you know, I was listening to a broadcast from Tariq a couple days ago, and he was talking about street culture and how gangsters operate. And he mentioned how when there's a dust up, when there's conflict between gangsters, that it's almost always over street business, money, some type of business transaction. And it screamed out to me how out of touch he is with the young generation today. If he were to listen right now, to be listening right now, I would beg him to get more familiar with the young generation today. They are a whole lot different than the gangsters of our day. And me and Tariq are around the same generation. I believe he's in his early 50s. I'm in my late 40s. Get more familiar with the gang life and gangsters of today. It's a world apart. Today, they kill for sport, clout, for fun, attention. We got the internet era. You go viral. And that attention is connected with money quite often. They got new motives today. Right? It's not all street business at all. Sometimes it is. But now the motives are childish. Quite often, they don't even know where the beef started. It's disturbing when I hear people say that the rumors of Chicago, you know how people say, what about Chicago? What about Chicago? What about Chicago? I don't like when black men say that it's a myth, that it's actually not true. Tariq's not the only one I heard say that. Y'all remember Tariq actually said that the crime and the gang wars that are talked about in Chicago, he actually said that it's a myth and that he believes it's actually white supremacists in Chicago out there shooting up black people and then blaming it on black people. That is very unfortunate, because the life of these gangsters is basically documented on Twitter. They pretty much use Twitter as a diary. all their dirt, it's all documented on Twitter. There's no question who's doing the shooting, who's doing the killing. It ain't no white supremacists. There's never been no white supremacists out there committing these murders. And remember, the height of the Chicago gang wars was, I would say, between, let's say, 2008, somewhere around there. 2008, and I guess you could say up to today. And I'm telling you, there are tens of thousands of tweets. There's no question. There's no theories of white supremacists coming out there shooting up nothing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody should be aware of something crazy like that. That is insane. And for the craziest part about it all is for these gang members to be out there, not only involved in gang wars, but to be using weapons that the rest of the population don't have. They're out here using weapons that the rest of the country, the gun-owning country, don't have. And you can't buy them in stores. You can't just go into a gun store and purchase the weapons that these gangsters use, because the gangsters of Chicago was getting them directly from the military, high-ranking officers in the military. So while there is an element of personal accountability, when you look at the environment, I mean, if they're providing guns, what else are they providing? What else are these high-ranking officers behind? So all of these crazy inhumane experiments carried out on Black Americans, we're going to need a check for that too. How about this? I got an idea. Raise the next, I'm talking to the establishment right now, the people who govern society. Raise the next 4 generations on positive music, and let's see how they turn out. Don't give them access to anything negative, and let's see how they turn out. Let's see exactly how much influence society has on how people turn out. But I don't like people talking about us without talking about the society we grow up in, that we come up in. We don't decide what type of world we grow up in. And all these double standards, I'm going to need some more clarity. Why is it that when you make a song like Cop Killers, it gets neutralized, but all these other types of songs go viral and get promoted? You know, back in the day, I would have thought it was illegal to rap about real crimes. That's like the last thing we would have thought to do. You know, actually basically make confessions in rap songs. You telling me this was actually legal? How'd they get to the point where you're not allowed? This was in several states, mind you, where you were not allowed to press charges against anyone for rap lyrics they made. And when these gangsters found that out, that's when they start putting more of their dirt in their lyrics. So they made it where, and this is, again, especially, everybody should know this. They made everything very convenient. You do dirt in the streets, catch a body, catch a couple bodies. Now go make you a YouTube channel and rap about it. The news reports will come out. The general public will connect your lyrics with the news reports. A few months from now, you'll have 500,000 views. And that fast, your rap career is taking off. The success of a rap career was the incentive to catch bodies in today's gang world. That was not the case back in our day. Think about that. What are the benefits to catching a body for today's generation of gangs and gangsters? It's a way to become a millionaire. They have actually attached or made becoming a millionaire one of the benefits of catching bodies. Now you can monetize the bodies you catch. That is what drill has been all about. So look at how many entities are participating in it. You got YouTube, SoundCloud, all these different music outlets, the high-ranking military officers providing them with the weapons, Twitter. Because remember, they was tweeting all this dirt. So it was all being documented in written form. And you telling me the only people we supposed to question is the individual 14-year-old rappers themselves? If y'all don't get out of here. If we're talking about the behavior of 12-year-olds, 13, 14-year-olds, how can we not talk about their parents? You got some nerve referring to people that young as grown. FBG, Brick, and Duck, they started getting arrested at like 12 years old. Most of them started getting arrested around 12 years old, 13, 14. They'll have bodies by that age. How can you talk about anything that they're involved in and not talk about the parents that raised them? What are the parents doing? You got a good portion of the population that don't like to wag their finger at rap music. Oh, don't blame rap, blame the parents. Okay, let's talk about the parents. They're almost all single mothers. Oh, let's not talk about the parents. Let's find a way to talk about black men. Yeah, that's it. They're only comfortable when they can blame black men and black men only. They deflect from everything else. Oh, you want to talk about the establishment? No. Where's your accountability? Well, they're kids. They're only 12 years old, 13, 14 years old. Well, you got to blame the parents. Okay, well, the parents are black females. Oh, well, you can't blame them, black men. You mean us black men who made it out of those traps? Who productive black men today living an honest life? You saying it's our fault and our job to fix it? I don't think so. But let me tell you, y'all gonna talk about something else. When y'all get to talking about the issues in the black community, I refuse to talk about black men anymore at all. The only thing I want to hear about is the system, all the different entities that participate, the environment, the people who govern this society, and their mothers. Seeing that they're never talked about, that's never talked about, we might actually get somewhere if we do. And I'll leave it there.